All right, when the truck came in this way and hit right here. It pushed this bumper back. It has damaged the grill, the headlight, the parking light. It has pushed this area back. It has flared out this fender. And I guess when the impact hit, it pushed this bumper into this wheel, and this wheel now is towed in. And you can see how close it's about hitting the wheel right there. I don't think it has any frame damage by looking up in here. I think it just knocked the alignment out. So basically, it's gonna need a fender, it's gonna need a hood, it's gonna need a headlight bezel, the turn signal light, the front lower piece, a grill, and maybe it pulled, the radiator support pulled back. Hey everybody, today something weird happened. Somebody smashed into the front of my 95 F150, and you can see here where they ripped the front bumper. They actually broke this light, which I've already repaired. They broke the adjuster I already repaired. You can see here I used some of my metal staples to repair the inside headlight bracket, but it got hit here and it flared this out, and it's kind of shifted the whole front end over that way. So the insurance actually paid off on it. So we are going to go ahead and start replacing all the front end pieces on this. Let me get a flashlight. One thing I've been meaning to do on this truck, I think what might have helped save the truck, is right down there where the radiator core support hooks to the frame, it's all rotted out. On this side here, you can see that it's pushed back. There's the other bolt right down there, but it's all rotted out. So I have a new one that I bought a long time ago. So that's what the radiator core support looks like, and those bolts go right through here. So all this is all rotted out on the one that on the truck. So we went to the junkyard. We got fenders, the valance, the new bumper. So we're going to put this truck back together. We're starting to take it apart now. So the grill's easy to grill. 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and a screw here, and the grill just tucks in here and here, and the grill just pops out. Now these are a little bit harder to do. You've got 2 screws up top. Since I have the grill, I can show you. The light has a stud that sticks through, so there's a nut on the back of this stud inside here. There's a stud in that hole and a stud there. So we're going to get the headlight surrounds out, and then we'll take this piece out next. And after we get this piece out, we can get down in here and get to the front bumper bolts. Such a shame. My beautiful truck. All right, well, we started with this bezel here. Now, the problem with this bezel is, okay, so you've got 2 Phillips screws that hold it here and here. Then inside on the radiator support, there's a stud that's supposed to be here with a nut, and a stud that's supposed to have a nut here. This one unscrewed and is still there, and we can't get it out. So this is a bracket that comes up and hooks to this. So you have to squeeze a wrench in here to get to it. But once you get those 2 bolts out and then that bezel just pops out. So G Junior's over on this side trying to get this bezel out. It's a lot easier if you go ahead and you take the battery tray out. So he's gonna take the battery tray out, and then we're gonna get this bezel off. I might do a time warp and start showing. I think we're gonna have to pull the radiator. I had to put an external trans cooler on this. We're gonna have to suck the AC out if it has anything in it, to take the condenser off. So after he gets this piece off, the next piece we're gonna take off is this, which is a bunch of 8mm bolts. And then this whole headlight surround will come out, and you'll be able to see the more of the damage on this side. So, oh, and also since we're gonna be changing this fender, I pulled the airbox out. The airbox has a 8mm headed self-tapping screw here, and a bolt here, and then all this stuff. I take this out, and luckily we have the best storage area in the whole world the back of the pickup truck. So there's that piece. I think the color is about the same that we got. So we might have to paint it, we might not, I don't know. This piece is pretty bent up too. So.
Well, we ran into another problem. This one's completely stripped.
That one's completely stripped, not good. Well, go ahead and disconnect it here too, all right? And then I think what you're gonna have to do is this bracket here will come out, but you're gonna have to get that bracket from inside here. So that's the problem with strip bolts, so you gotta get that one out there. All right, so like I said, now we're gonna have to try to get down in here. You're probably gonna have to get a wrench to get this bracket out. All right, well, we'll get this stuff taken apart and we'll come back. Maybe I'll do a time warp. Maybe I'll just set the tripod up on a time warp and we'll let it go that way. All right, so after that time warp, you can see that this radiator support here is pretty rotted out. And we went ahead and pulled the radiator out. It's just easier to get to this lower line off, and the fan. This side over here is rusted, but it's still connected. This is the side that was the worst side. You can also see right here on, as people call it, the horns. This is bent in here, and it looks like it's tweaked this way a little bit. And if you look right in here, you can see that it popped the rust off. So this is bent a little bit this way, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. The bumper mounts still look pretty well lined up. It might be, you know, over a little bit. I'm not going to worry about it. So got the radiator out, 2 bolts to fan shroud the fan. And now I'm being environmentally friendly. I'm sucking the Freon out of the truck so we can get the condenser out. And like I said, I had put a external trans cooler on this one because I overheated the trans one time towing a trailer. And I talked to some people and they say, oh yeah, the transmission cooler in the radiator is not big enough for these trucks. So that's why I added that. So after we get it sucked, the Freon sucked out, we'll take the condenser off. Once you get the condenser off, we're probably going to have to get in here with a cutter and cut the bolts. Well, this one's already loose. But then we're going to take these bolts out here. And of course, I did not get this part, so I hope this part is still in good shape down below. And we're just slowly working on it. I'll put it onto another time warp when we get back on it. We're probably going to stop for lunch. Actually, it's like 1:20. We've been working on this thing all morning long. So I'll give you all another time warp when we start back work on it. variety, as you can see by that last time warp. We got the radiator core support out. Here is the core support. Pretty rusty and crusty. This has been actually rusted out for a long time. That's why I had the other new one. I've been meaning to do it. You know, life gets in the way, and the truck was still drivable. But at least I have it. So they look pretty straight. This one maybe is kinked a little bit in, but I don't think it's going to matter. These still kind of line up perfectly, so I'm not too worried about it. So I've rinsed this down with water. While I'm here, it's so much easier now to change this lower hose. I'm going to go ahead and change the lower hose. And this high pressure power steering hose here is getting kind of iffy looking. I hope I can get in here. I need to start knocking the rust away. So then when we grabbed the fenders, we did not grab those pieces. This one was a little bit rusty. That one was okay. So let me walk on out into the paint booth here. And I don't really care that they're not red like they're supposed to be. So I've been having G Junior out here. There's G Junior right there. G Junior's out here on this beautiful 70-degree day with some rattle cans. And he cleaned this off really good to get all the dust off it. And now he's been spraying it with Rust-Oleum satin. This is the best satin for underneath the hood. If you want the original looking color underneath most 60s cars and 70s cars, buy this. This is Rust-Oleum satin Canyon black. It used to be 7777, but it's no longer that. It is now, I don't know, 327916. These are those little wings I was talking about. Which one is the worst wing? This one?
I think it's
it's this one. It was kind of crusty, but it's all still there. That one's a little crusty, so he's got some paint on those. So runs, don't care. It's on the bottom. And then he's been also using a little bit of this cheap
Lowe's paint.
Yeah, it's but it's not satin, it's gloss. So I had him paint the top gloss. So we're working on this. I still got to get one of the bolts out here where this bolts to the frame, and we're working on the fenders right now. It's amazing. The fenders on this truck really aren't held on by very much. Let me walk back in here. So I've already soaked it down and I took it out. There's one bolt that goes this way. So you have to open the door and get that one out. Then there's one bolt here, right? And then there are two bolts here, the hood spring, the 4 bolts here, and then this here actually is where that upper valance goes across. But you can see this fender is leaking. Oh, and also too, there's a bunch of like 7mm bolts around the wheel well. Same with this fender here. It's nice and loose. I don't know if I showed you, but when the car got hit, it got hit and it kind of dented the hood in right here. So I was able to take a hammer and beat that back out. But then I noticed that the hood was actually shifted. Which way was it shifted? That way, because the truck got hit this way. So the hood actually got shifted that way. So I loosened up the hood hinges and I relined the hood with this point here. This fender was out here like this, but if you notice, you can just push it back in to where it needs to be. And then same with this one. This fender was actually underneath the fender, but you can just pull it back and see that's about where it was. But we have 2 new fenders for it. Oh, over here, as you see, I'm beginning to work on the bolt that's in here. Let me get my flashlight. If you look through the hinge, the bolt's right there. I soaked the other down with some penetrating oil yesterday. I didn't get this one. I need to do the same on this one. Need to get that out. So that's what I'm working on now. So gonna get that taken out. Maybe we'll get the fenders on here. I don't know, but at least I get the hood straightened out. And we got the other stuff painting. I want to get a power steering hose for it and a lower hose because that's a bear to change. I have an external cooler. These lines weren't the right ones for the truck, but I need to flare this end so the hose can't pop off. So we got a little odds and ends to do. We're going to probably start taking the fenders off next. Alrighty, as you can see from that video, I got the fender off. Like I said, there's a bolt here, a bolt here. This is the hood spring to hold the hood up. There's one bolt here, one bolt down there, and there's a bunch of bolts, small screws that go around for the fender well. Now, there's the fender well. There's the fender that was hit right there. So I noticed this when I was working on the exhaust. When the truck got hit, let's see, this flange was really rusty and it exploded. So I was able to get a repair flange. So when I got the repair flange in there, I happened to notice the top of the frame is really thin right here and it cracked. Now, I don't know if that happened during the accident because it doesn't look like a fresh break. It could have happened during snow plowing. I have no idea. Everything seems to be pretty straight. So that's why I pulled the wheelhouse out, because it's going to make it so much easier for me to get in here, and I'm going to weld a plate. Yeah, see, this cross member starts right here and it's all solid. So this is still solid, that's still solid. So we're just going to take and put a fish plate right on top of this, and we're going to put a fish plate right on top of this, and it should be good to go. We'll just have to get in there and really clean it real good. While I have this off, I'll get G Junior to go in here and clean this crap out. Ooh, more rust. And I'll get him just to shoot some paint in there. This truck was an accident one other time. Someone hit me and pushed the front end to the passenger side. That is probably when that cracked and they didn't tell me. So I'm gonna get a plate, and like I said, the rest of the frame is still good all the way down, and the spring tower is welded in there and it's nice and strong. So I think if I just lay a piece right in here, because this is pretty thin, I'll be able to weld it right to there. Just got to get in there and clean it all up. All right, so there's that fender off. So now it's the same thing on this one. Basically, the one bolt in the door, the bolt that goes in, the two bolts there, and all the bolts around the wheelhouse. I don't think I'll need to pull this wheelhouse out off. This frame looks okay. You know, and it does look a little wavy back there, but wavy back here, like right there and right there, but that could be from that previous accident or from that from snow plowing. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to go ahead and plate that up and weld that up, and it will be that'll take care of that for now. This is an old rusty truck. It's just used to hauling stuff around, and that cross member is behind all this stuff here, and the shock tower is still in good shape, and that cross member still not rusted out. So I'll fix that, no problem. Alrighty, well, I think that's it for today. We'll come back on it tomorrow We'll get the other fender off. I'll weld that up. Oh, I still got to order a power steering hose. The guy won't answer the phone. All right, so I'll see you probably in a couple days on this. Alrighty, so it's another day, and we got our lower radiator hose on. We have our new power steering hose on. I went ahead and slapped some POR 15 on it. I've painted the frame. I welded in the little plate where it was cracked. There was another crack, where was it? Here, that I welded up, and we just pulled this fender off. So now I'm gonna start doing the reassembly. This is the new fender. Not the best looking in the world. That one actually, the paint's better on that one, but that one's all rotted out. This was not all rotted out. So I'll put you all on a time lapse and we'll start reassembly. Okay, so you can see I got the passenger side fender back on. It's lining up pretty good. The color is off. This is more copper, and I didn't realize that the clear coat was peeling off of this fender so bad, but this is the only truck they had. So you can see that this is still kind of loose. This one's kind of wobbly. This fender needs to come in a little bit more, but you know, it's lining up pretty good here, but here it doesn't look good. So let's close the hood and see what it looks like. Let's start off with the good side first. So this one here, when we put the radiator core support back in, I can pull that out to get that to stay out. This side here, the gap is a little big, but I think this truck always had kind of a big gap on this side. Believe me, I don't think these trucks were built to a very high standard, but I could probably loosen the 2 bolts there and push this in. Getting there, it's looking better. Oh, and by the way, my truck is now a F250 heavy duty. All right, and yeah, this fender has a little bit of rust there. I'll pull this molding off. You can see that this fender had been repainted, so this might be a newer fender. Okay, still working on it. So now next thing is we'll start putting the radiator core support back in. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna bolt these wings in first and then slide the other mount in. So I'll put you back on another time warp. we have the extra wings in that go behind, and now we've put the radiator core support in. Now, this truck has been hit twice in the front end. One time it got pushed to the left. This last time it got hit here. Well, it does look like it has pushed both these frame rails over, because if I line this fender up, which looks really good, I have no bolt holes, okay? Now on this side, the problem is this piece is too far over this way. But this is easy to fix because I can unbolt it from in here and space this out. And then you can see right here, it's hitting there on the frame, and see how much gap is there. So this thing has been twisted and hit and blah, 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 blah. You know, as long as I can get it close, that's all I'm caring about. And you know, it's like with the hood down, you know, that's like perfect. That's like perfect. So we'll just work off the fenders, make sure the fenders are straight, and hopefully the grill and everything will go in properly. You know, because it does, let's see, if you look in here, it looks like we're straight. So I think we're good there. We're just, you know, this thing really probably needs to be put on a frame machine and tweaked back that way, but we're not going to do it. So I'll take and not bore you with this part. I'm going to go ahead and get this spaced out and bolted in. And I guess I'm going to have to drill, you know, some new holes in this to get it to line up. It should be about there. All right, so I won't bore you with that. I'm going to have a lot of adjustment to do, so I'll just go ahead and try to get this adjusted, and then we'll come back. I'll go ahead and put the radiator in. I'll put the condenser and the radiator in, so that's boring stuff. And we'll pick it up, putting the grill and the bumper and stuff on, I guess. Okay, I don't remember where we left off, but I know that I didn't have the condenser in, so I got the condenser in, which is a bolt right here, a bolt on the other side, and then one bolt down here. I put the hood latch in and the hood latch supporting bracket. Transcooler was on the condenser, so that's done. Now, obviously, these frame rails are pushed that way. You can see how close that is here and how far away this is here. So I had to space this fender out with this bracket, and those are there. And then this is such a crappy reproduction bracket that the holes don't line up. So it's just gonna get two. And then over on this side, I had to elongate these holes to get it to work, to get the fender right. I don't think that's going to be a problem. The hood latch, I actually have that working properly. It's all the way over this way, but it's grabbing the hood, it's working fine. So now, still have the radiator put in. I have the wire harness all put back in. Wire harness tucks in back there. All the emission components are plugged back in. I got the condenser plugged back in. Still need to do the radiator and this panel here and the battery and the horns. Oh, I forgot the horns. Got to put the horns in, but before we put the horns in, there's two bolts that come through this way into this piece, and this piece looks like it's lining up good. I'm gonna get that piece on, and then I'm gonna have to do a bunch of work on the grill, the plastic grill that holds the headlight. I don't know what you would call that, some type of valance that holds all the headlights. I've had a bunch of speed nuts that are broken off that I'm going to have to cut. But here, let me. There, that's clicked on the safety. It's looking pretty good. The fender is a little bit more coppery color than the rest, but maybe I'll paint it, maybe I won't. Let me get it back on the road first, and then we'll decide if we're going to paint the stuff. Alrighty, well, I made a mistake. I put this piece on before we put this piece on. So I had to take this piece back off. So after I took this piece back off, then I had to put this on. And of course, the radiator core support is too far that way. So we had to trim it down in here to get it to fit, but it's in the right position. It's all bolted up. Then of course, then these bolts here didn't align up. So we had to put self-tappers there and self-tappers there. Like I said, I'm no body man. I just want the truck to be back together and working. So now that we got that, we can put the grill, and we have to change over the headlight bezels also. So it's looking good. I wonder how the bumper's gonna fit. Because like I said, these things are kind of pushed over. Hopefully there's enough adjustment that we can put it on there and get it right. And here's something here. The first time it got wrecked right here, when people were putting the bumper on, they scratched the bumper. So we got to be very careful not to scratch the bumper. But we got the, did you put the plastic piece back in? Go ahead and put the plastic piece back in. I don't think we're gonna need to put the plastic piece off. There's 2 pop clips underneath here we got to get. So still working on it. Still haven't put the radiator in. So now all I got to do is put the headlight bezels in and the grill, the bumper, radiator. So I'll probably take it back up on this tomorrow. Maybe I'll show it when it's completely done. Alrighty, well, I know I skipped some steps, but we got the junkyard chrome grill. The argent needs to be repainted. The chrome headlight bezel, so I moved my lights into them. We got the extra flow front bumper, which I absolutely love on these trucks. So it's going to be a big upgrade. We painted this black. We forgot to paint the ABS sensors. We got the radiator in. We still have to put the fan in and the shroud, the air filter box, the fresh air inlet. We got the battery in. We got all that stuff done. Let's see, let's close the hood. Gap is good. The hood is a little high. It's bowed here. I'm gonna try to take the bow out, but the gap is good there. The gap is a little wider on this side, but this truck always had a wide gap. Oh, sorry about that. The battery had 20%. It went from 20% to dead. And this is a GoPro Hero 8, and they don't have batteries in stock. All the aftermarket batteries don't last very long. So I need some GoPro Hero 8 batteries. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, the gap on this side is pretty good. This side gap has always been a little bit wider than that side gap. Once again, chrome bumper with the extra vents, excuse me. We'll polish this all up. The bumper is as far over that way that I can go because the frame rails are pushed that way a hair. So this is in a little bit closer than the other side, but that's okay. I didn't realize since this truck, when I took the fender off, the clear coat's coming off. But you can see this is more of a copper red and that's more of a red. So no big deal. Let's get the price tag off of here. I'll have to clean that up. So we still have a little bit of work to do. I am now an F250 heavy duty, and I think it looks really good. I think it turned out pretty good. It looks straight. It's back pretty much to normal, except for a different chrome bumper and the chrome grille, which I'll clean up. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to close out this video right here. Like I said, we still have the air box to put in, the overflow bottle, the fan shroud. That's all boring stuff. I did bolt the bumper on just to see what it looked like. I'm like, well, hell, we're done. The bezels just bolt in with a bolt down here and here and 2 bolts over here. And then the grill is just screws. So you have to put the headlight bar in before you put this valance in. So I learned that today. Because the other one, we couldn't get the bolts out of it, so we took it out as one piece. Price tags. Alrighty. G Junior, you got anything to say?
Nope.
Alrighty. Well, we worked. Okay, so it took us 2 hours to get all the parts off the car, the junkyard. It took me 2 9-hour days. It took me 18 hours to do this job. And of course I did do a little extra by painting the frame and fixing the frame, more of just slapping the parts on. But like I said, some of the stuff doesn't line up quite right. So we went ahead and used some self-tappers. But I'm very happy I got my truck back. It looks good. We're gonna align it. Oh, I got a new set of heavy springs for the front ends. I think the springs are dying on it, so we had to put the springs in. I'm waiting for the eccentrics to change the caster and camber so I can reset that. So it's all back together. Looks good. All right, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe. You can always do that in that corner there. Please give me a thumbs up if you like my automotive videos.